Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we finna talk about compromising. Now, I know y'all motherfuckers thinking like, how the fuck this Aries ass motherfucker finna talk to us about compromising? The fuck this Aries know about compromising? But look, check this out. I know a thing or two about compromising, but you know, in my channel, I like to go a little deeper to talk about where things actually come from. You see what I'm saying? So when we want to talk about compromising, now there's a lot of words I can mix in and blend in with that to make it make sense, but I don't really want to do that. Like compromising, like it's a compass, it's a minefield, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So anytime you compromising, it's a place of meat, because you know a minefield is like, say we're going to war or something like that, right? And you place a lot of mines. 9 times out of 10, that's the battlegrounds to where two parties come to one land to full war. You see what I'm saying? And a compass is like a compass or accomplishment or a compliment. You know what I'm saying? Or a compass. When you giving a compliment, right, you're kind of giving somebody a reassurance of a specific location, basically. So like when you compliment somebody, right, you're pointing to a specific thing that you actually think is good, or you pointing to a specific attribute. So it's at the end of the day, it's still a location. It's just a location in a yin realm. You see what I'm saying? And like a compass is like a point of direction. Like what I'm trying to get you to understand is it doesn't matter what words you use, the frequency is still going to be the same. And depending on how many letters or which language it is in, that's going to be the manifestation of the magic trick of how high or how low that frequency is going to vibrate. This is why in the English language we be having two words that say the same thing. Like you got two. You got TWO, you got TOO, and you got TO. All three of them is vibrating at different levels. You see what I'm saying? The TWO is vibrating at the highest level. You saying? And the TO is vibrating at the lowest level. With a TOO, that's vibrating at the lowest level. So that's why you're gonna rarely see the 200 compared to the TO, and you're gonna rarely see the 20 compared to the TWO, which the TWO goes into a lot of different frequencies. It has a sigil, the number 2. It has a perception. It has a conception, the 2 and all that. You know what I'm saying? And when you get less vibrational with it, it means something different in the language and in the realm of reality. But really, from a spirit, and how I look at it as Archangel Uriel, is just vibrating lore. So in the realms of realities that it's being perceived in, no matter how high or low it's being vibrated, it's still being able to be perceived in its way. And how I'm able to tell is because the TO vibration is utilized in synthesis and language, but it's not nearly as powerful as the TWO frequency of the 2, because all the realms of realities that goes into. You see what I'm saying? You can't tie the TO to, you can't see that vibrating as high as the TWO, because the TWO2 correlates to the number 2, 2 people, 2 trees, duality, a lot of things. Then what derived from that, it became lesser, a lesser god than that, a lesser frequency, a demigod to that frequency, and now it becomes TO, and it's vibrating lower, so it's represented in a lesser capacity. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have all the added attributes, but it's still from the same. It still come from the same vine, because when you put the TO into a sentence or something like that, it's still to add something, or to, like when you're saying one part of the sentence, anytime you put 2 in there, it's to add another oneness of the sentence. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be doing something to, and then you add on to it. That's why, you see what I'm saying? So you can't escape it. So when we're talking about compromising, now you know you're a universe, you your own world, right? So when we want to talk about specifically compromising, 9 times out of 10 it's something you setting aside in your own world for the sake of someone else's world. So that's the basic component in compromising, because you're taking your geographical location and you're seeing how it could kind of match or blend or have some type of foundation where it could be like, look at it like a ledge. It's a middle ground, the same way how I explained it before. So if you taking your universe and you're a walking universe, and you take someone else's world, their walking world, right, and need a middle ground, because if it's too separate, if y'all don't know how to complement each other worlds, then at some form or shape, you guys are being selfish. And to be in a collective conscious, we all share a group of beings in a world externally. So we all share in a collective conscious. We all share in a collective realm of reality. So we all have to be selfless to a certain degree, but we also have to be selfish to a certain degree in order to remember ourselves, so we don't get lost in the blend and the smoke. But also we have to understand that we still are a part of the blend. But we still have to understand that we are a piece of the blend also. So that's the going in and out. That's the breath. That's the yin and yang between that realm. So when you want to actually talk about situations when you need to compromise, that's ultimately you taking your world and coming to and trying to find a middle ground to someone else's world. And if you can't find a middle ground, which a lot of times when you're having conversations with people that's dealing with compromising, a lot of times using the middle ground, the word itself, middle grounds, those terms itself is used. And a lot of times it have no choice but to be used in those realms of realities and those frequencies when you're going through circumstances and situations that's dealing with compromising. So when you can't find a middle ground, you can't. There's no land, there's no foundation, there's no rope to lead from one land to the other. There's no practical foundation. So either the bridge is going to crash, the bridge is going to burn and don't get reattached, and you go your separate ways. Now also when it comes to compromising, a lot of times you have to be careful who, what, and what you're compromising with, because a lot of times a person, place, or thing could be making you have to compromise a lot more than your spirit can take. And when you look into your world, look at it like a house, and look at somebody else's like a house, and then y'all need to combine houses in order to make a bigger house, for the sake of, you may have kids, or you may have certain things that's connecting you guys other than yourselves. Now say this compromising vibration frequency is vibrating so high that transformations is going on. So the things that's needed to be compromised is very intense things, very transformative things that might not, that if this happened and occur, things might never be the same again. So you might have to take more out of your world, aka if we look at it like a house, you may have to take your TVs and your dressers and put it in that house. You see what I'm saying? When you don't necessarily want to. And then you may be with a person who feel like they can have their own TV and still need your TV, and then put you in a situation like that's the way you have to prove their love. Like if you love them, then that's what you should do. And a lot of times you have a lot of people whose soul and spirit vibrate higher than others, so a lot of people are able to manipulate mechanisms in the quantum field to make a lesser person feel these type of ways, to feel obligated and to feel like they have to give more themselves. But you know, a lot of times when you compromise too much, your spirit will let you know, because you'll start to lose yourself. You'll start to feel like you're not yourself no more. You'll start to feel like you're absorbed in this other person's problems or this other person's situations and things like that. You'll start to lose yourself, and then that's when we get to the mechanism where you become too much of the whole again. You become too much of the all-in-one, and you forgot the representation of how to remember you're a piece of the all also. But when you become too much diving into yourself thinking you're just a piece, then that's when you become selfish, and then you forget that you are part of the all. And then when you dive too much into the all, like too much compromise and giving too much of yourself to others, you lose yourself. So then you forget yourself again. So you become too selfless. So you have to balance this mechanism out. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't balance it, you're either going to lose yourself, or you're going to have too much of yourself to the point that no one else is going to apply themselves with you. and you're not going to be able to effectively balance yourself in a collective conscious, because that's what you're in. And you chose to experience this. You need to know that. You chose to experience this. So for the most part, you know what I'm saying, the compromise is just to share your world. And not just share it, but to give up some pieces of your world for the sake of to have some room and space for another person's world. And if you're not in a situation where this person is doing the same thing, then you're not in the right vibrational energy, and you're not around the right person. And you need to get the fuck away from that person before you become unaligned. And if you become unaligned, that person is going to be the representation of why you're unaligned. And if you put too much energy into that external person, place, or thing, you're going to forget the fact that you manifested that yourself. And you're not going to do nothing but manifest more of them circumstances. You see what I'm saying? So at the same time, be very careful, because we're compromising every day. You're compromising your time, aka your soul. You're compromising your spirit, aka your energy, your thoughts, to things that you don't need to be thinking about. You know what I'm saying? You compromising your time, which is your soul, giving your expressions and your energy and your realm of reality and your emotions to things you don't need to be giving it to. And ultimately it's going to show through your body, through your energy, your physical body. You're going to look wore out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look lost. You're going to look like you're not all there. People are going to be trying to talk to you. You're going to be wish you can jump in life like you usually do. You're going to be like, oh, sorry, guys, I'm out of it. What you say again? You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of that shit going on. A lot of that shit going on with you. A lot of forgetting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of missing details and shit. Yeah, yourself could be very fucked up being unaligned. And being unaligned, there's millions of ways you can get unaligned, but one of the key components of getting unaligned is compromising. And it's good to compromise, but when you compromising with the wrong motherfuckers, goddamn, you could be giving yourself to an energy, and they could be run by a spirit. And you be giving that spirit all your motherfucking energy. And the person you giving it to don't even know that's what's going on, because they don't even know they goddamn self. So they don't even know what the fuck going on in goddamn selves. The blind leading the motherfucking blind. And that's going to lead nowhere but into a motherfucking brick wall. God motherfucking damn. But yeah, be motherfucking careful what you compromising with, because people could be draining you. There's a lot of motherfucking energy vampires out this motherfucker. People would drain you for no motherfucking reason. You sitting here having a good old time trying to uplift and be upbeat and have a positive spirit and joke and shit, and you got people out here really goddamn serious and drain your motherfucking energy. And you sitting back wondering like, damn, why the fuck I even let this happen? When the person who attacked you, they don't even know how the fuck they did that, because they got motherfucking attacked. And if they don't know themselves, they getting attacked every second, minute, hour out the motherfucking day. Be careful, be motherfucking careful out here. Motherfuckers will do it to you. God damn it. Be careful who you compromising with. Be careful who you creating a middle ground to share your world with. Because when you start to look at what you have to take out, or what you have to repress, or what you have to leave out of your world for the sake of letting room and space for this person's world, aka this person's spirit, because spirit is your space, your thoughts, your ideas, your room of opportunity, it is your space. That's space. So your space is your spirit. You are a space within a space, your idea. So when your thoughts is too cloudy, you need to clear your mind, because it's not going to have no room and space for any idea of frequencies that God try to give you to see the right path, to see the right direction your frequency need to go, to align your soul, so your soul could play out through your body, and your body can show the right representations on this earth. You see what I'm saying? But if you're not fucking doing that, you see what I'm saying, and your fucking mind is clouded, that's what can happen. Now that's the same thing with compromising. It's your spirit. So how much you set aside your spirit, how much thoughts you got to repress, how much verbal communication you got to start to compromise with, how much actions and the way you act you got to start doing in other ways for the sake of this person. That's your spirit. So all your spirit, how much room you got to make to let somebody else move in, and you got to make sure you see if they willing to compromise the same way you are off the bat. But for the most part, that's your spirit. Be very careful of that. Be very careful who you let move in your space, in your room. And be very careful, because it might be some shit that you got that you just wanted there. And you don't want to move and redecorate and shit like that. You know that statue or that vase or that fucking mannequin or whatever you got in that house and that spirit that you got, nigga, that shit motherfucking might need to stay there. Females, don't let no male come in, make you feel like you gotta move, you gotta separate what's in your mind and let him move all this shit in your area, in your spirit, for the sake of you feeling like you need a goddamn man. See what I'm saying? Get your compromising right. Get your compass right and get your middle ground right. Set up all kind of traps and fields. Therefore, when someone do walk into that middle ground and they step on one of them landmines, boom! If they don't show the right motherfucking actions that you are being likened to let in your house, aka your spirit, then boom, let that motherfucker get his legs blown off and let him turn the motherfucker around and go where the fuck he was going. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.